Back here with the 2001 Monte Carlo revamp project as far as mechanical and electrical issues that I've been having with the vehicle, fixing them problems. Yeah, the motor mount came in, so I had to do a comparison, show you guys. This motor mount is front passenger side. It sits right underneath the crankshaft, right next to the oil pan. You got that U bracket right there, the black U bracket. And I got this piece of wood wedged up in there because I don't want the motor sitting on the CV joint boot on the transmission. If I drop it, because I had the motor mount out for a while, and if you put it down, it'll be just sitting on the boot of the transmission because there's no support, obviously, and we don't want no extra issues, extra problems. Avoid those. But yeah, comparison. This is a common item that fails. This is my third time replacing this. I replaced it the first time when I bought the car. I replaced it the second time when I put the junkyard motor in. And I'm replacing it again. So this is number 3. Just this one. There's one on the opposite side for the transmission. Then there's the 2 dog bone mount up top. The dog bone mount up top been replaced once by me already. So those are my second set. And they're up here. And they're still in pretty good shape. The ones I had before, they were in like 3 pieces. So these are still good. They're still in good shape. And I changed the dog bone mount and this bracket right here. So the whole assembly together I replaced because there's bushings in here that over a period of time, because of the torque, they wear themselves out with the back and forth movement of the torque. And these are starting to go bad now, so I'm probably gonna have to replace this again. Now they do sell the boot, these little rubber boots inside. They sell them separately. I think they're like $10 each, and you can just press it in, press it out. Or I could just buy this for I think like $2 more on eBay, whatever the case may be. But these are starting to they're starting to lose their firmness and whatnot. But the most common failure point is right here. This. Out of all the motor mounts that's on the 3800s, the 2 dog bone mount, the transmission mount, and the right passenger mount, these fail the most. For one, you have the coolant on this side, water pump. When the water pump leaks, it leaks down the block, the face of the block, through the crankshaft sensor, and then it leaks onto this. Now this is rubber, and obviously you can see how it's cooked up. And when the coolant falls into this, and the heat from the engine itself, it starts to work its way around the motor mount, and then failure happens. Keep in mind, this is my second water pump. I changed the water pump before because it was leaking, but I never factored in the fact that it was leaking onto the motor mount also. And this is the end result of that. So when the coolant was leaking, it was leaking onto this, and it's just a little valley in here it sits into, and over a period of time it breaks down the rubber itself, and we get this 2 totally different aspect of the motor mount. And I'm trying to give you guys a comparison how far that this is falling into. If I get it to stay, I guess it ain't gonna stay, whatever. But you can see it here. I'll put this one on top of it next. There you go. So you have about 1 inch right here of this height above this rim, and then above this rim right here, you're you're leveled. You're at level with this rim, and over here is damn near 1 inch. And that U bracket over here that black bracket, that U bracket, it sits right across on top of these two studs. So that gives you an idea of how much failure, how far down the engine is sunken on the passenger side. And that creates problems for the dog bone mounts, because instead of having an even level, engine transmission combination with the torque and all that, because again, the differential, your differential and your transaxle is right here. This is the differential right here. So most of the time when you hit the gas, your right front wheel gets most of the torque first, and then the differential do its thing and transfer torque to the other side, to the left front wheel. But most of the time this side gets most of the power first. So when the motor mount is damaged like that on that side, or on this side, on the passenger side, and you're smashing the gas, or you're just taking off, smooth acceleration, it's still giving you a good amount of torque on that side, and it's pulling on the dog bone mount on the driver's side, and it's just pulling it sideways. So it's putting stress on the actual dog bone mount itself. But we're gonna fix that right now. A few other things I've been working on is the return for the power steering. And you can see it's a little bit shorter than usual. I done cut it, snipped it up, and moved it up a little bit on the little nipple on the reservoir. But I still think I'm gonna have to change the actual return line, which runs all the way down here, and you can see the two lines go through here, and then it makes a big loop in front of the engine cradle and comes back into the rack and pinion itself. I'm probably gonna end up having to change that. I think it's like $40-50. I'm not sure for that little thing, because it's giving me problems right now. I let the car run, make sure everything's tight, nothing's leaking, nothing's giving me issues. But this seemed to be the one. I haven't started the car yet since I've done this modification to it, because I found pink liquid sitting on the actual tube and piping itself, so power steering fluid. So after trimming the hose itself, and it done got a little shorter, and it doesn't look like it, but there's a little stress on the actual line itself, but it's not that much. I think I cut about 2 inches off, maybe an inch and a half off, close to 2 inches, and just reattached it to the nipple and put the little clamp on right there. This little black rubber hose right here. But everything else is seemed to be in good tip-top shape. There's no leaks or anything like that of its kind. One thing I am debating is swapping out the oil pan for a completely brand new one. Yes, I should have thought about that before I put the engine in the damn car, but it's getting to me and I'm worried about it. And my biggest concern is there's a little dent on the oil pan. You can see it right here. It's a little groove, a little dent. It's not much to the eye, but that's where the pickup tube lives. The oil pickup, it lives right here. So you see that dent? That becomes an issue, and we don't like issues. We don't want that problem. So that little dent right there, it's not much, but it's enough for me to be worried about the oil pickup. So I'm probably gonna have to drop this pan and order a new one, drop this pan, and put it in the car. So that's probably gonna be another video, because I'm not taking this engine back out. Hell no. The headaches I went through to put the engine back in. Remember, I'm a one-man team. It's just me and this engine hoist, and that's it. There ain't nobody else here helping me work on this. It's just me. So after I put the motor mount in, I'm gonna take this for a drive. I'm gonna see how the oil pressure runs and all that, and see if the power steering is no longer leaking. I'm gonna take it for a ride around the neighborhood. Can't go too far. We ain't got no insurance on here, none of that, so gotta be smart, gotta be safe. But yeah, I'm take it around the block and see what else I need to get fixed. I had the oil pan tray right here, catch pan right here, just in case anything pop off, but ain't nothing pop off yet. So we working on that. And also, I'm about to get started working on the interior. I started taking trim pieces off. I got the dash apart. Don't worry about the battery being dead. I had the radio on, testing out the radio. I'm having issues with the speaker right here. It's cutting in and out, so I might have to swap that one out. And I usually get them in pairs, so I'll just swap out the front too. And I'll have an extra 6-inch, which I can use for one of these back there if they decide to blow out. Or I'll leave it in the car, and whoever, if somebody purchases the vehicle, they'll take it with them. Yeah, a few things I've been working on is the wiring down here. The ignition is finally fixed. I'm finally happy with it. There's an issue with Monte Carlos and Impalas. Sometimes you'll have a warning light where the battery light is at right there. You'll have an issue that says headlight out, headlight not working, such and such. Even though it's a brand new bulb you put in there and such and such, it's the multifunctional switch, which is your indicator lever, your wiper blade. It controls all that. This lever right here. It's your multifunctional switch. Since that it does so much, it's a multi-function switch. And the harness runs right here, and it goes into a plug down here. I'm gonna wiggle it so you can see this little plug. It goes into the plug right here. Now inside of this plug is 3 prongs that communicate with power, ground, and I believe it's a signal from one of the computers. Inside of that plug, it gets burnt out. It's like, how do I put it? The load that the headlights are giving off or needing, the high beams, the headlights, the low beams and high beams and the fog lights, it is overheating the socket right here. This socket. And let me disconnect this socket, show it to y'all. Should be able to do this with one hand. Come on. Alright, this. Now looking here, you can see 1, 2, and 3. These 3 prongs, they transfer a good amount of heat when the headlight is on, when the high beam is on, when the fog light is on. Now, this doesn't happen to everybody. It happens to some vehicles. My vehicle has this issue, mainly in part because I have HID balances. So it's like I have aftermarket headlights on, and the load that they're carrying, it's too much for this harness. So what I did was clean it. It looks burnt now, but this is actually clean. I mean, before you couldn't even see the prongs. So the best issue you can do if you're having headlight issues is to disconnect this socket, this plug right here, which goes to your multifunctional switch, which is your right turn, left turn signal, your wiper blade, and your high beams switch, all in one. And check these 3 prongs, and this should be most likely your issue. If you're getting the error message up here that's saying headlight out, high beam's not working, low beam's not working, and your headlights are not working, even though you swap the bulbs, that this harness right here is the issue. It's most likely the issue. So that's basically it right now. I have a full-time job, work 12 hours a day, sometimes 14. So I'm just taking it as, step by step. I ain't getting no rush, but I'm trying to get this car back together to where I had it when I first purchased it and first worked on it. And I mean, I fixed everything. The first time I bought this car, I fixed everything that was wrong with it. And then over a period of time, I had this car for about 7 years now, I believe. 7 to 8 years I've had this Monte Carlo. So it's been a while. And I've neglected it because, you know, your current status never stays the same. You know, you could be in love with this car and spending $10,000-$15,000 on this car, and then 3 years down the line, you done moved on to something else. You know, you moved into another job, another city, another occupation. You know, your life is constantly changing, and sometimes you can't keep up with everything, and you got to make those tough decisions. You know, you deal with the relationship and family and what's going on in your life, or you continue to put all your effort and time into a vehicle, you know, not knowing if this vehicle gonna last forever or such and such. So that was my option. You know, I moved on from the Monte Carlo, and I went and got another car. I said I wasn't gonna deal with this shit no more, and I just parked it. So it was parked for about 8 or 9 months. So we're trying to get it back to running condition. Like I said, anybody can buy this car. If they don't buy the car, I'll be stuck with it. I'm still working on it. I'm still fixing it. This is a cheap revamp, so I'm not spending thousands and thousands of dollars on it, but I'm not doing it, you know, the shortcut way either. If the part is good, I'm using it. If the part is not good, I'm swapping it out. You know, I'm getting decent parts from Duralast, AC Delco, you know, the good brands. I'm not going to the junkyard to buy anything if the part is not good, especially electronics. The only thing that ever failed in this car electronically was, I believe, the BCM. And I went to the dealer, I went to Chevy, and it was like $564. It was like $2 and change for the computer, and then almost another, no, I think it was about $300 and change for the computer, and like $189 to reprogram it or something like that. And it came up to $5 and change with taxes and everything. And it only took like maybe an hour. So I spent like $500-$600 on just like an hour. Because I walked in, I told him, hey, I need a BCM, gave him the VIN number. The car was parked outside. They drove it in, swapped out the computer, reprogrammed it. They handed me the old one. They handed me the old BCM. I think I still have it. It's somewhere in Miami at my parents' house, but I still have it. So they gave me the old BCM. They put it in the box that the new one came in. And when I looked under there, because the BCM is up under here somewhere, I don't think this camera gonna be able to pick it up, but it's up right here. You see this black box? That's your body control module, which is right under there. So that little computer under there cost about $300 and change at the time. And that was almost 5-6 years ago. Because that was like within the first 8 months that I owned the car. My doors was unlocking and locking themselves. My trunk was popping. The trunk was popping up by itself. So I was on the highway and that shit flew open. And I was like, what the hell going on? The doors was locking and unlocking, locking and unlocking by themselves. And it was all kind of weird crap. So I figured it was the BCM, and it sure enough was. So I had that swapped out. So that was the biggest electrical issue I had. Other than that, gauges work fine. I changed the LEDs behind the cluster. I fixed the ignition switch. And I'm rewiring the alarm system that I have in here. I'm getting rid of some of the things, some of the features that it had that had on. I'm taking them off. And I'm putting it just to lock, unlock, and siren. That's all I need and with the alarm. I don't need all the extra features that this Clifford came with. So I'm cutting and splicing the wires that I do not need, so it doesn't interfere with any other issues in the vehicle. But that's about it for now. A quick little update. I know the video running long. It's been what, 20 minutes. But yeah, the sound system, like I said, besides the speaker right here that's giving me issues, all the other speakers work. Everything works perfect. I don't know if there's any song I can play that has copyrighted in fragments or whatever they call that with YouTube. Give y'all a little sample. This thing still play music crisp and clear. Let me see. Give y'all a little sample, just a little.
I'm sitting at the red light. My ankle monitor beeping. Hadn't been charged. I think I see the people.
That's about it. I ain't trying to get YouTube copyrighted and all that nonsense. But as it, we still working on the Monte. I'm changing the front right passenger side motor mount, and I'm gonna go online, check the oil pan out, see if I need to order a new one. Well, I'm gonna let the car run, see how it sounds. I didn't really pay attention to the pan because I didn't think it was gonna be that close. But I went under there and looked, and I'm like, damn, this shit look like it's kind of close. And I went back to check on old videos of other people swapping out stuff on 3800, and I'm like, damn, the pickup tube is right there. So it might be a big issue. So we'll see. That might be another video. I have to do more videos on this damn car.